Hey y'all, happy Sunday. Okay, so this was not planned, so I'm just hurrying up and fitting it in. Yes, I'm early, but I just this wasn't even planned, but with all the messages I've been getting, I want to talk to you guys a little bit after that video. A lot of you are extremely upset, extremely angry, ex- and I just want to clear the air a little bit. So, buckle up. There will probably be a lot of strong opinions. So mods, let them express their opinions. Now, downright just talking shit to me, that's never going to be acceptable because I'll get into a little bit more. But I did set it for subs only for 20 minutes because if you want to come in and talk shit to me, you can sit here for a little while first. But we're going to have this conversation. We're going to act like adults. And this is what we're going to do. Those of you that are getting storms, I hope you guys are all safe. I see that the East Coast is getting pretty shitty weather. Hey, Penny. Hey, Aries. Sir, you already ate. Miss W, Eve, Crimson Moon, KCG. Oh, you little turkey. He knows. I swear he knows. Chico's Corrupt Chronicles. I love the name. We might have to go down and get him treats. Hold on. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Thor. We're going to have to go get him treats. Hold on. We got to go on a mission right quick. If I could have shorter stairs, it would be really good. I probably run them like 40 to 50 times a day, and that's no joke. I don't go to the gym because I just walk up and down the stairs chasing after animals and kids. What is TPE? TPE is a channel Sparrow by the name of Tragedy Pimps Exposed. I'm not really sure, if I'm being honest, what community they are from. They were around when I started YouTube. I don't know them at all personally. Never spoken to whomever that is. I'm not really sure what community they identify themselves in or where their home would necessarily be, but it's a channel called Tragedy Pimps Exposed. I'm going to be walking through, so I'm going to mute for just 1 second. Talk amongst yourself, please. Thor, yesterday's live stream was 11 freaking hours. None of us intended to be here that long. Ever. Like, that was never the plan at all. Sorry, making noise so you guys are muted still. Okay, now Auntie Janice doesn't have to tell me to give Dexter treats because he's already had them. He's already good. Okay, let me go back through. Sorry, I'm still behind. I'm still way behind. Oh, and it's windy out here. Hey, true crime knitter. Okay. I might just end up popping to the bottom. Hey, break time 5. Heartland honey. Brat. The deflectionist. Lurker. Nursey-kins. Steph, don't. That. Not that Steph, don't side-eye me. I just realized you put that in there. Oh, shit. It's really windy out here. Okay. Nicole. Ava. Tracy. Catherine. Jolene. J-Dub. Tracy, I'll explain in a moment. Marcy, Jennifer M, Bex, helmets on. No, actually, well, I wouldn't say you need your helmets on unless you don't like pure blatant honesty. If you can't handle pure blatant honesty, then maybe helmets should be on. Justice Equalizer, Mystic Butterfly, Carla, Duchess, Nature Rocks, Handmade with Love by Dawn, Y'all Nana's Not Drunk, Becca, Love Louie, Mickey 44, Glory, The Deflectionist. Yeah, I'll explain in just a second. Crafty Girl, Sharon. This was not intended. Lip locked no more. But my girls needed to vent. So we're here. Hey, Scooter McBooters. Vanessa, Leon 1010, Forever Army, LFT, Nashville Native Realtor, BJ, Pineapple, Carol. You have no idea what's going on. Well, I'll explain in a minute. Are you nuts? This isn't going to really be, this is more of just me addressing some things. Maria, Daddy's Baby Girl, Annabella, Music City Mom, Betty MCW, Claire, Misty Blue, Cherokee Girl, Tia, Margot. Did I get everybody? Janice in accounting, go ask Alice. Cheyenne. Gina. All right. I think I got, hey, Lorraine. Sharon, Julie, Twin Thing, Laura. Oh, I will spill the beans. There's no beans to be spilled. Hey, Meg. Hey, One Way Street. Laura. KM. Wee Frosty. Emerald Skies. Josh B. J Dub. Lucky Shot. Some of you have said twice now. I've missed some of you. Misty Day. Trying to get you guys, but you guys are chatting fast. Not that Amber. My eyes are going cross. Tonka Girl. Diana. Feisty Nana. Mrs. Mississippi. That Michelle. Cat Eye Sunglasses. Tammy's Clips. Thank you for being a member. Hey, Mal. Okay. Lip Locked. Pika. Banana Pug. Donna. Ange. We're almost there. Velvet. It's me, Amber Lee. Okay, I made it to the bottom. Pugopolis. Last one. I think everybody else I got for the most part. If I missed you, I'm sorry. All right, so let me kind of just set the stage. So a channel by the name of Tragedy Pimps Exposed did a video addressing their feelings on correcting misinformation. Hold on. Let me go pull the title of the video so I can just tell you. I'm not going to play their video because it kind of defeats the purpose of what I'm going to talk about. So hold on. Give me a second. And I encourage you to go watch it. I am mentioned in it quite extensively. But let me set the stage. So the title of the video is a much needed conversation with our community and 3 years worth of screenshots live preview. So that's the name of the video. And the thumbnail says, community conversation, stop tagging missing kids. They don't belong in drama streams. Let's talk about it. 3 years worth of screenshots. No problem. I wouldn't even known that this was going on truthfully, unless I wouldn't have been messaged. So I appreciate people letting me know. However, I was addressed in this video, and that upset a lot of people. A lot of people. But let me explain something to you, because this is not the first time nor the last time that this is going to happen. This has been going on for the entire 2 years that I've been on this app. There are levels of what people think is acceptable and what's not. That is always going to be an ongoing conversation. I appreciate some of the points that they made in this stream. 100% respect that. They did mention that some of the people that they respected, they reached out to. I was not one of those people. I've never talked to this person before, have no idea. It wasn't something that, I guess they decided that they even respected me enough to come to me in private. So there we were. But I'll be honest, I'm not upset about what was said about me. I'm extremely disgusted that Duchess was included in that. And I'm going to tell you why. So not only was I included in that, but Duchess, who brings awareness to the missing. And a lot of the conversation surrounds hashtags. Hashtags. So everybody has a different line. But when you are doing awareness, and yes, I'm outside for now. When you are doing awareness of a missing child, in order to get the word out, it is almost impossible, because of how YouTube's algorithm works, to get that into the algorithm. It is a thing. It is something that I have struggled with for 2 years. Went back and forth, my own personal boundaries. And I'm going to tell you my personal boundaries in a minute, because nothing's changing for me. Not at all. It opened my eyes to something going on. But when you bring awareness, or you're covering a missing child's case, the only way to get that in the algorithm is by using those names. It's just kind of a thing. That's how YouTube's algorithm works. They click. That's why none of my videos, even debunking or talking about anything, get in the algorithm. The names, the titles of the videos are where it lays. So first and foremost, that was pretty fucked up, if I'm being truthful. Especially when you included Duchess, but left out a handful. I mean, I can probably think of 10 off the top of my head that claim that they're correcting misinformation, when meanwhile, all they're doing is basically kind of openly mocking the creator that is doing it. They're not correcting anything, but that's my personal line. And that's what I see personally from a lot of people. And then I see other channels that we kind of do a little bit of both, but there was also a mention of the drama getting included in this stuff. So for me, I'm going to just set my boundaries very clear. Do with that what you will. Nothing is changing over here. It was also mentioned that she was really upset with me going over sus interviews. Now, that was a group discussion that I had with my community, and we decided to go back over sus interviews because of the misinformation that was flowing. And they kept saying, Seth didn't say this, Seth didn't say that. So how are you going to correct the misinformation without putting it right in front of their faces? I stopped when the last time he went on panel, and I was so disgusted personally, because both things can happen at the same time. Just because you're the parent of a missing child does not release you from accountability or criticism. Both things can be true at the same time. You can be the parent of a missing child and also exploiting your child. So for me, that's where my line is. If you're exploiting your child, which is actively happening, and a part of that, I'm going to treat you like a human being. I will also not get on board with, just because you're doing that you potentially harmed your child or involved in a bigger thing. That's one of my lines. So basically, the standards that kind of were set in there, and I kept asking questions like, how do you do it? Like, how do we get our names in the algorithm to be beside this? Because when you're trying to correct misinformation, you can't really do it. Without tagging the names, and you'll notice, I don't think TPE is even in the chat. TPE is not somebody that I've really ever seen in my chat ever. So it's totally fine. Like, again, it's nothing. This is where people get so personally caught up, because they think it's creator to creator beef. This is somebody that's in another part of the community that has a hard time looking at what is happening. That is totally okay. There is nothing wrong with that. But I also have a duty to my subs, who I have these conversations with quite often, and we try to discuss What do we do? Where do we go? How do we do this? So let me be very clear. Everybody is going to have a differing line. When it comes to awareness with Duchess, again, I said what I thought there. That was completely fucked up in my opinion. Duchess is an amazing creator who is one of the only people that doesn't inlay drama. Duchess went over the interviews of Chris and Katie's. We did not regurgitate the same interviews. She went over the other side of it because people keep saying they said this, they said that, they didn't say this, the news didn't say that. So in order to go back and debunk some of that information and get the factual information out with what was said, that was a choice that was made. Had nothing to do with personal dislike, trying to do anything of that nature. So that for me is kind of a wrong. Now, me being included on that, I can see. But this might offend some of you. And sit with it where you will. There has always been, in 2 years that I've been on this app, there has always been a handful of people who do not lend their voices to correcting misinformation, who do not even attempt to make a difference or do anything besides critique those of us that do. I'm not talking about Tragedy Pimps Exposed and that, but there is a whole community of that sit and watch and then have discussions about how we're doing things wrong, how we are doing things inappropriately. Meanwhile, they don't do anything besides talk about us trying to figure out a way to help. There is always room for improvement and growth. That is totally normal for any creator. There's always things. This has been such a learning experience for 2 years. It's back and forth. I go back and forth on certain things. But you have to drown out the noise and understand where your personal boundaries are and what is effective. Now, something I did take away from that, which I already had stopped, was the Seth interviews. I personally can't handle it because I can't sit by and not point out the intentional misinformation that he has caused in his child's case and just sit by and with a smile and continue to give grace. That is a line for me that I know and I started to see very highly, that I can't listen to him do that to his own child because that's exploitation of its finest. So I stopped reviewing them. But he is the source of a lot of the misinformation that is carried through. Now, another thing that I've always struggled with on this app is a lot of creators focus on the same 3 to 5, maybe even 1 creator that they call out, or not even call out. They're not mock, laugh about. I'm not really sure what you would call it, but it's not necessarily correcting misinformation. They replay the streams and kind of point out here and there. They don't invest the time to learn the details of the case or follow the case or anything like that. So there's that segment of people too, which all has a benefit. Now, please understand this all has a benefit. There's just different sectors and they all serve a purpose. So for me, like, I don't sit back. There's things for me that are personal lines of mine, like putting Sebastian's name in the title. I see the purpose of it. I absolutely do. I just personally can't do it. And we had this conversation the other night. People were asking me, please start doing it so your videos get in the algorithm with them. The reason I don't is because they do include drama. Because a lot of the times when you address these creators, that's the only spin that they have, is to go personal with the drama. There is no fucking way that I'm going to sit by and continue to allow the creators that we are addressing the misinformation who go on a different level and take it personal when I go right back to showing what they're doing in active time to just talk blatant shit. Of course, I'm going to address it. But that's a line for me that I don't cross. Like, I don't put his name in the title because there will be drama with it. There's going to be drama. When you address these creators, the only spin most of them have is to deflect onto personal shit and drama. It's the way that it makes people uncomfortable, and it's just the way it goes. This has been something that I've struggled with for the longest time because no matter how long you ignore them, they still do it. I'm not stopping doing anything. Y'all, I'm not doing anything. And actually, I'm really disappointed that she pointed out about the number of videos in my in the playlist. There should truly be probably like 800 at this time, if I'm being honest. if I was actually able to keep up with things, because there has been so many channels. I have barely even touched the surface of the channels that have been passing off misinformation in this case, and continue to do it all day, every day. What I have realized out here is we all can do whatever little part we can. I just choose to do what I can. And even though I have different boundaries than other people do, different lines that I won't cross, I'm not about to sit here and talk shit or criticize the others who are attempting to do something to help this problem. That's a line for me. It's not everybody's line, but I'm not mad about it. It is what it is. I am upset about Duchess being included in that. Truly, that was pretty fucked up, because at least I would have expected there to be an attempt of a conversation with Duchess, in my opinion. What I'm upset for is, I'm not upset with, I'm upset for my subs. My subs who went over there and were really upset. They were super protective. And I don't like seeing you guys like that, because at the end of the day, I am a stranger on an app. I have just as many flaws as everybody else. I am not going to ever be perfect. There is always going to be more opportunity for growth to do it better. This is something I struggle with all the time, that sometimes it feels like we're doing no good. I talk about it all the time. I've stepped over the line. I've acknowledged that. I even openly, like, I think for me, it was kind of a smack in the face when I realized that certain creators were not put in there that do way worse shit than I do. However, again, their video, their choice. Not the first time I've been down this road. But when you acknowledge something, if it's constructive criticism, you call it out across the board. You don't pick and choose here and there. And that's what happens in this arena, because there's no way you can constantly pick up with everything. So you pick bits and pieces where you can. My subs were upset because I think a lot of them felt like a slap in the face, because we have these conversations quite often behind the scenes. When I am stepping out of line, they will catch me and go back. And we talk about where we go. What do we do? And I think they kind of felt a little bit more jaded than even I did. I don't want that for them, because at the end of the day, they have blind loyalty to me. A lot of them do. And I don't even deserve that, truthfully. I am just a flawed human trying to do my part and wanting better for my fellow humans. And I think that is why my subs are upset, because at least I'm willing to put my name and my face behind something I stand on. A lot of people won't. And they get very defensive about that. Of course, we can always do better, but there's a way that it can be communicated and conversations can be had. Now, with the algorithm of YouTube, I don't see a solid answer. That was everybody in the chat. I don't know. I have no answer. I have no clue. What do we do? I don't know. So that wasn't a discussion. That was a call out. You're fucking up, in my opinion, because when you want change, there is solutions. There are conversations about solutions to be had, and there was no solution based suggestions even. It was just a straight up, you're kind of a fuck up. In fact, we got called low level tragedy pimps. To each their own. I'll keep doing my thing. I'll keep donating where I want to. We'll do our thing. Again, I'm not changing anything. But I want people to realize that there's always going to be other levels for every person. There is always levels to this. Everybody has a personal different level. That's what I address. I have been very open about what I feel is right, what's wrong, everything. Be Tim, the tagging thing is necessary. See, this is, I've been asked by, I'm not even going to say, to put names in videos, and you would be shocked at who it is. I've been asked to try and get these in the, because it helps, because it's the only way. The titles of the videos and the hashtags is what combats the algorithm. But I don't, because it does include drama. I do tag the parents. Absolutely. I did last night. We talked about that. Please don't let this hurt your heart. You guys, don't let this don't let this bother you. TPE, from what I've seen, is a great human being. She's just addressing her issues, which is this is adults. But again, I go back to, I'm solution orientated. And so when you address me with no suggestions or even attempts, and you're not somebody that fucks with me, you don't have enough respect for me to reach out and have a conversation how we can do it better. I tend to kind of go, let's go back to my community and let's talk about it with the people who do support me and do want change for the victims, because we've been doing this work for quite some time and we've continued to do it. And again, these are the people who show up and have these conversations. If you're not a part of the conversations, I can't take and say that I even know what to think of your opinion because you've never given it before. Does that make sense? Are you guys tracking what I'm saying? And I'm not going to name names. There's a lot of creators that fuck up. We all do. Jesus, we're all human. To Air's human, we all have room for growth. But to be put in a video next to JLR and Spanky, there's some underhanded shit there. Seriously, it is. It is what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit for anybody. To be put next to JLR, Spanky, called a low-level tragedy pimp. I see you. I've had this done before, though. Again, people who sat next to me, then all of a sudden had to change. I mean, it happens all the time. People's lines change. People grow. People go backwards. It just happens. Like, there's always an evolving conversation that can be had. Yeah, she did. Music City Mom. She called him Spanky. Yep. T-Rev, Dolly. Yeah, I sat right next to him on all that. That's why when you guys all came in and talked, like, my subs started piling in there, I was like, oh, fuck, this is going south. And I appreciate you guys showing her respect. Again, this is not, there's no love lost for me there because I don't know this person. I'm willing to take her criticism. However, I don't know where to go with it because, again, there was no solutions, or even like, she wants to have a conversation, but then the video ends. Where are you supposed to have a conversation and take it? Like, what are we supposed to do? So we're going to have that conversation. So the names and the hashtags were mentioned. So let's discuss that. I personally have said this numerous times. The only place you'll find Sebastian's name tagged in my channel is on my playlist of my videos addressing Sebastian. The misinformation. Sorry, guys. We got to go in just a second. It is really windy out here and it's picking up. That's the only place his name will be found. Now, I do hashtag his parents' names. I do use Seth Rogers in the thumbnails. Again, I have stopped reviewing Seth Rogers interviews because personally, I will not give him a pass just because he's the father of a missing child, because both things can be true at the same time. He can be the father of a missing child and also exploiting. He's also now a YouTube creator who is passing misinformation off about his child too. So there is another level of it. But that is something for me personally, I just walked away from. So I'm not changing anything about how I do things, except for I want to know, what are your suggestions about hashtags? There's also a spot about hidden tags. Does anybody in here know what the hidden tags section mean? Because I don't even use that either. So I have questions about that. I'm not going to change anything. Tara, it did kind of feel that way, if I'm being honest, at the end of it. Like, I was holding out hope and I was still sitting there like, okay, maybe she's going to call, pull it all together. Because I also have a line where I won't show unredacted documents. I won't show a lot of that stuff. I won't show photos. I won't show body cam footage. So I have different lines than other people have too. But other people, to me, like, that's some shady shit. And it's just glossed over. So again, it goes back to everybody's lines are different, and I'm never going to live up to everybody's expectations. There were people in the chat over there that just I don't fuck with those people. I don't like those people. They don't like me. They're not a creator. They're just a shit stirrer. And they picked a side between two people that they thought had this big falling out, and they've only heard one. I don't even know if they've heard one side of it. I don't know. There's just some weird shit that always goes on with this stuff. So you got to kind of drown out some of it too. So where do we go with that? Where do we go for my community? My videos, I have no control over everybody else. And here's my thing. If you are putting your ass on the line and attempting to correct the misinformation that is being spread, kudos to you. I don't give a fuck how you're doing it at this point in time, because at least it's being done. It's extra important. See, wasabi. And can you imagine though, there has been so many of you that have told me that. See, this is what's confusing to me. And I'm not taking you guys on purpose, but you're making points that have been made to me all the time. Like, people continue to say, Becky, the only way you're going to get in the algorithm. And that's a huge thing for Duchess. And that's why that was a fuck off. That was disappointing. That was a no. Daydream Eyes, yes, I plan to. I'm not going to speak for Duchess, but that was low. That was low. What matters to me is the victims and their families. So at the end of the day, I'm never going to please when there's two sides of it, but I know where I stand also. So at the end of the day, I can go to bed sleeping with that and rest my head very well too. So that might also be a difference for me versus some. And that's why I'm also not extremely bothered by this. Because if at any point in time that they wanted something done differently, they would be the ones to address me. Because that's whose child's name should have all been about. But it's not. And the only way you can attempt to combat that is to hit it head on. Hey, Johnson. Oh, Arctic. I respect the hell out of you too. I needed you yesterday for comedic relief. Oh my God. Duchess gave us some. So did Chico though. Oh my God. Them too. Talk about troopers. None of us intended it for it to be that long, but I tell you what, for 3 people to hold an 11-hour stream with no hiccups, and it flowed. That was without pre-planning any of that. Those girls held in there with me and rocked through the day. And we just rolled from content to content, and it flowed because that's how the misinformation, that's truly, yeah, Jones and I'm in the video. Yeah. She's upset. And I'll tell you, she called me. She said, she basically kind of compared us to low-level tragedy pimps. She pointed out my series, which she didn't like, that I'm on 22. I'm on 22. Tomorrow will be 22, which I told her I'm going to continue. Truthfully, like I said earlier, there should be 800. She doesn't like that I reviewed Seth's interviews and used Seth in the hashtags or Katie and Chris, which I did yesterday, Katie and Chris. But when I reviewed Seth, I used his hashtag because it's the only way to really get shit in the algorithm again. And I did use his face for a thumbnail in the section that I was reviewing him. So yes, I was definitely heavily mentioned. And I'm okay with that. Anybody can call me out. I'm not above reproach. Not at all. Don't take this as that. Please do not. I think everybody should be able to have these conversations, because I think as a community, there is so many different lines. And then what happens is there just becomes further division. So instead of doing anything, people are afraid to even speak up because you might offend this person over here, when this person over here puts salacious videos at the end of their video that aren't vetted or fact checked or anything besides YouTube rumors. So then you got that. And it's like, oh, okay. So each and every one of us has a different line in the sand. And a lot of it comes down to who you're cool with and who you're not cool with too. So some people hold people to accountability because they're with creators or that's their friends. That's becomes the line. That's why I don't really have necessarily friend Duchess. There's a few creators, Chico, Kathy P, shit. How many others? What are you guys putting ones in the chat for? Who asked is Janice? Janice asking people to put bananas in the chat again? Hold on. Put a one in the chat if you would like nonsense. Oh, I revival. That's not changing. That's all I can do. All I can do is try my best for the families and the victims. That's all I can do. That's everything. That's all I can do at the end of the day. So for anybody to say, and the thing is when you sit next to people who do nothing but drama and you think that that's addressing misinformation when it's nothing but drama and the same creators over and over again, are you any better than the rest of us? Truthfully, are you? I mean, it's a question that we all have to ask ourselves. What are our lines? Where did somebody say bananas? That's why I spend my energy and my effort into correcting what I can. There's going to be drama. That's not going to change. That's never going to suit anybody. I'm sorry. There ain't going to be no bitch that lies on me constantly and continues to lie on me because it does deflect and it takes the focus off of you correcting their misinformation. That's their deflected. That's the deflection technique. That's what happens. Revival's ready to fight. I love my girls, but they are defensive because these are conversations that we have. We talk about this. The people that I'm close to, the Islanders that have been here, you guys, that's the other thing that's I think I felt a little shade from is when you're not a part of my community or you even come over here or fuck with us, and then you have all these opinions. Why didn't you come in here and be a part of the conversation and offer these suggestions? Mm-hmm. I have my assumptions of why I'm included, and I'm going to leave that be because that's my personal opinions of why I was included. It does feel a little bit more than what it was, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah. And I think it kind of comes back to who people assume you're in a community with or who you associate with other creators. And a lot of that becomes assumption because there's definite sides out here if you don't know that. Like there's definite sides. Everybody's got their favorite people. And there's other people I'll never do anything right ever in their opinion. And I'm okay with that. You guys are okay. But those that sit on the benches oftentimes have a lot to say about us playing the game. That's always been a thing. That will continue to be a thing. If you notice, there's creators who just wait for creators to fuck up so they can jump on it. And then they jump at any chance too. And I'm not talking about TP in this part. So please don't get it misconstrued. I should say that right up front. But there will always be creators waiting in the wings to watch the people that they dislike fuck up. Well, those creators that are fucking up are at least lending their voice to attempt to bring awareness to what's happening to the victims and their family. Jen, for me, there was just no solutions even offered. Like, how do I do this better? I don't know. Because I went in there open for conversation, open to have a discussion about where do we go from here? Because this is something a lot of us deal with personally. T and I just had this conversation the other day, literally had this conversation. And I was like, I feel like it's hopeless at times because I won't cross my boundaries to take his name. I won't do those things. There's people on this side of things who have now switched to correcting misinformation who once upon a time were real lifers. and they're trying to make a change. So do we hold them to that fucking you were this? There's no room for growth? No, for me, it's if you're willing to stand up and do something and speak up for the victims, I don't give a fuck. Victims and their families deserve better. There's no correct answer of how to do it. Truthfully, I wish if somebody has the answer, please tell me. So we're not tagging names, we're not putting names in the title, which I don't do. I will continue to tag the parents' names when I feel fit. I will continue to do my thumbnails the way I feel fit. I will continue to do my series. Like I said, we should be up to 800 parts right now. I will continue to be held accountable by my community who cares about this conversation and wants us all to do better and engages in this conversation openly, constructively, with solutions in mind. And at the end of the day, I will continue to fight for victims and their families. And that means if I get down in the fucking mud, bitch, I'm a pig in the mud that day. But feel how these families feel for one moment. None of us will.
That's what you want, right?
Yes. But to be put in a video next to those people, you could have at least messaged me and told me what the deal was beforehand. And you said pretty openly that the people that you respected, you reached out to. Well, I guess Duchess and I aren't on that list of people you respect. So there's that. I don't, True Crime with Eva, I couldn't even tell you who's friends in that group of people. Truthfully, if I'm being honest, I hashtag to categorize no more than 3 is best. That's nice to know. Yep. Thank you. So just the 3 main ones. Is that what you do? The 3 main? See, I don't even know what the fuck. I don't know how to do proper hashtags. I don't know about that hidden tag spot. There's all sorts of stuff that goes on. We're talking about the video that Tragedy Pimps Exposed just dropped. Again, no shade there. It is what it is. This is just another creator on the app. I don't know this person, but there were some things that were said and some people that I sat next to that really affected my community. At the end of the day, for me, nothing changes here. It's just constructive. Well, it's not really constructive criticism. It's criticism without any opportunity to really understand or, I mean, I'm gonna kind of summarize what I gathered and tell me if I'm wrong about her expectation. And please correct me for those of you that read and saw what was going on. So her expectation is no tagging of the missing child, no tagging of the parents, no reviews of the parents' interviews. Well, she said repeatedly 100 times. I've never done that. All of them have been reviewed once. There has been one video that I've reviewed a section of it twice or 3 times. Never even close to 100. But so no reviewing of the parents. Parents should not be addressed for what they're doing. Complete grace given. That was what I understood. And I could be wrong, but this is just what I perceived. Again, it's about perception. So no tags, no names, no reviews of parents' interviews, no drama with creators, which that again is almost impossible because as soon as you put highlight on them, they'll come back with drama. It would be like 6 Up is somebody I respect and actually know. That kind of goes back and forth, is over there and over here. So I'm going to use 6 Up as an example because I don't think she'll care. 6 Up, I'm not exactly sure again what community she hails from or what she calls home, but she calls Ziggy out on the bullshit that she does, the misinformation that she does. But there's always drama. At the end of the day, it will always be drama. Granted, it's not a victim, but Ziggy is talking about, I think, Summer Wells most time, if that's right. And she's not intentionally bringing drama. She's correcting what Ziggy does. Like, she's not attempting to bring drama, in my opinion. She's calling it out. But when Ziggy gets called out, all she does is revert to drama. Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say here? Some of these people just deflect. It's their deflection technique to add more drama. So it's a constant spin cycle, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense a little bit. That's just kind of the deflection technique of some of these people, like BJ. The only thing that she knows how to do is revert to victimhood 101. We saw that last night. I hope what I'm trying to convey is coming across appropriately because, again, especially with this accepting, I'm just using her as an example. Like that turns into drama, what I have seen. And it all surrounds Summer Wells and what Ziggy did at the baseline. And then it pops off into other shit because then she includes other drama when she gets addressed with it. So there's no correct avenue that if you address them, you can take and ignore and ignore and ignore. But at the end of the day, they're going to constantly come back until you have to address the drama, shut it down, and then you go back to correcting shit. Like that's just how it works. Oh, and that I'm a low level tragedy pin. I don't feel, again, I'm not going to feel any remorse for being monetized. I'm sorry. I put way too much work and time and energy into this to feel guilty for that. Plus I donate. And that's my lines on that too. I remained unmonetized for the first portion of my time on YouTube. Don't regret it whatsoever because I didn't know what I was doing. But now I have no regrets. Absolutely none. I put a lot of time and energy into this. My time's valuable. And if that offends somebody, that's where you're going to have to sit with it. I have no problem exploiting the exploiters. No regrets. I said that last night too. Yeah. 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 I don't know. And here's the soft Becky. I know that sometimes that there is a want for these conversations. I know that sometimes there feels like it's really heavy that we're all fucking up. I've been there myself personally about my own content, probably more than anybody else has about my content, except my haters who just focus on me. That's the them thing. I don't care. If you're not at times wondering if we can do it better, how to do it better, how you shouldn't be doing this in the first place. But I see a lot of people like I don't call anywhere else home. This is my home. I don't go around spending other time correcting other creators that are trying to help and lend their voice to, like Jonesin, for instance. I'm going to use her because she'll be cool with this, I'm sure. So the other day I got a message that they thought Jonesin was addressing me for, I think it was the Seth interviews, if I remember correctly. I have to go back and look. And I was okay with that. Like, I can understand that totally. But then I think it was unsupervised that said she corrected Jones. And I think Jones and had his name in the title. Like, it just becomes this revolving circle. Jones was like, I wasn't talking about you. And I'm like, it's okay if you were, kind of thing. Like, we have this cloud looming over us out here that there's this, we've got to fit into. You got to do it right. There is no right way to do this, you guys. There really isn't. Truthfully, wasabi. Reporting isn't always gentle, for fuck's sake. If people are willing to step over the line and be imprisoned under horrific conditions for 20 plus years to show the truth of ugly things, YouTube clippers can at least, oh my God. Ooh, that comment right fucking there. By the way, somebody said the other day that I'm a really good ally to different communities. Please don't call me an ally. I'm an accomplice. Air Force Vet, thank you for the super sticker. I prefer the term accomplice because if we go down, we're going down together. So there's that. What up, MJ? Soft Becky. I know. Because I don't think she was trying to be. I want to say I don't think she was trying to cause a ruckus, but unintentionally she did because we've put a lot of work into this. My mods have. I have. And it's the least we can do to take a few hits for these families going through the worst. Truly. We show up and have these conversations over and over again. And when you don't even take part in the conversations to want change for victims and their family, you do it in your own way, in your own thing, but you expect us to change without even having a conversation. How do we do this? What's your expectations? Because right now, the expectations that you laid out are unattainable, if I'm being honest. Because then that we remain silent. Where does silence get you? It gets you nowhere. People have remained silent on this app for far too fucking long. Not going to do it. If that means you're going to make videos about me, feel free. Fire in the hole. I've been exposed 40 times. And I'll be damned if Duchess gets tagged in a video like that again. When she brings awareness over and over again to the missing, she gave that family a safe space to land and gave them the warning. She was reached out to and contacted by a family member of theirs because they wanted to come on YouTube, and she was probably the safest place they could go. Yes, it's hard because there's a navigation of victims and their families. It always causes drama, but Duchess hasn't caused that drama for them. She has actually done everything in her power, and Seth was invited to that interview too, just to be clear. He chose not to. He chose to go on other channels, which is his choice. But Duchess has absolutely not done anything, and I've heard it out of their mouths. But treat them with dignity, kindness, and respect, and help bring awareness to their son. They are incredibly thankful for Duchess. And I've heard that myself. That's the only piece of the video I'm pissed about, truly. I think Queen Bee and I have been addressed so many times on this app, we're probably both numb about it. Truthfully, I'm not going to speak for Queen, but I just kind of, but it did feel, there was some underhanded things in it, and I choose to ignore those and think that she really wants to have a conversation. But when there's unattainable expectations and there's no suggestions, and everybody just says, I don't know, then you're basically expecting us to just shut the fuck up. So shutting the fuck up benefits the people that are exploiting the victims. You can call me a low level tragedy pin, but you can call me you can call me anything you fucking want. But you can't call me weak spined who won't stand up for victims and their fucking families, because I've been doing that shit for 2 years. Again, those of us that play the ball game are on the field. Some people watch from the bleachers, and that isn't two tragedy pimps exposed because she's been gone. I didn't even know. Like I said, I wouldn't even have known about this video. Again, I'm trying not to be shady, but I'm not even subbed over there, you guys. I see that person in chats. Like, I might have been subbed over there at one time. I'm not anymore because I wasn't subbed when I went in today. I would have never even known. And that's not to be mean. I don't watch those places because I'm focused on doing content. So that means grabbing context and review of the channels that I'm watching. That means, like MJ said, it's probably a good thing if I'm not watching your channel. Who shot the sheriff? I got canceled for buying cheap hot dogs. God. It actually is really impressive to me, some of the some of the names in here that are like, where do we go from here? And feeling the same way that a lot of my subs felt too. So I appreciate that. The girls can tell you I was pretty just another fucking Sunday. Like, somebody always has something to say about how we move. That's going to continue for as long as I'm on this app. It truly is going to continue. We will never live up to the expectation, but I take you back to Wasabi's comment. Change comes sometimes very aggressively. It's not always going to look nice. It's not always going to be in this little palatable bow for everybody. We all have lines. We can always do things to improve. But how can we improve when there's unattainable goals that nobody can possibly reach, because that means silence, and that just continues to let the exploitation and the profiting off of people's pain continue, which is a way bigger picture than a few creators. And the other thing that kind of felt a little shady to me is there's some of us that branch out from one specific creator that they call out over and over and over again. It's 800 videos of the same person. Meanwhile, I try to give you a little variety at least. I try to show you that it's a much bigger picture out here than two creators. That's other things that, for me, my brain works. I wish more people would talk about more creators. That's a personal thing of mine. That's a personal line of mine. Move on from quicksand drama, sucked into the whirlpool. Give your time to those that deserve it. They'll come to you. Sandra, thank you so much for that comment. That was really sweet. This to me isn't really drama though, because this is an open conversation with my community, my island, and overlapping communities. Because a lot of us do want to do better. We talk about this behind the scenes. We talk about this here. We've had these conversations this last fucking week. That's again, if you're not a part of those conversations, why are you even talking about conversations when we're having them? We just talked about tagging the other day, and I said that that's my line. Like it's what do you do? That does happen, Melissa Jade, and that is why for me, I have really tried to stay away from creators. Granny's watching. I'll use Granny as an example because that's one that everybody has been on my ass about constantly. That has been just this big, huge cloud that there was this expectation that I should go back 3 years and learn Granny's past. Gem, yes, a long time ago. Long time ago. I'm not doing that. I'm not in the business of going. Queen Bee is another one they've expected me to because of everybody else's personal lines. I see Granny. I told you guys the other day the J for Justice thing bothers me. But again, I don't control her channel. If she chooses to have her up, then I don't go. That's just a choice for me. I appreciated the video that Chronicles did the other day, and I commented in there because I watched it because Brittany screamed at me about why don't you call it? I couldn't call her out when I didn't know what had even happened. But I still, yes, there was some things mixed in there that I do not agree with. But I also, that's why she deleted the video. I don't think it's on members only. My perception is that she deleted the video. So she obviously deleted the video because she wasn't okay with it, right? I'm sure she realized she fucked up and what she did wrong. That's why she took it down. I think if I'm perceiving this right. And somebody in the comments said, this happened recently. And I said, please come over into my comment section and make any, tell me where you want me to look, what you want me to see, all of that stuff. I have yet to see them comment. So if they have told me where to go, I have not seen that yet. So I keep getting told things, go watch this, go watch that. And then there's nothing there. You ask where it's at, and there's like nothing. So although I do appreciate to finally understand what they were talking about, she deleted the video. So again, I don't know what I'm supposed to say about it at the end of the day. Was it grimy? Absolutely. I did not agree with it at all. But there was obviously a reason she didn't leave it on her channel. You'll never see that over here, Sunflower. In fact, I don't like it when people jump into my fights. You don't ever see channels that I build up around me to do my defending. That doesn't happen over here. I address what I want when I want. I don't like people defending me. My mods will tell you. I mean, it means a lot to me because they do, but I don't ever want them being drug into shit because of me. That's why I always speak very clearly. I'll never put them in a mod chat because I'll never want them to be responsible for anything that I do. They don't know what I'm going into. They fly blind. If they're comfortable with it, they show up. If they're not, they're not. I respect the fuck out of my mods and the people I fuck with highly. And I will never put them in that spot. No, I'm just saying Sunflower, that's another one of my things, and I've been that way for all along. And I don't want you guys to kiss my ass, but those of you that have been over here, please understand, like, this is not an echo chamber. This is an open conversation that I really want, because right now I feel like the expectation is unattainable, and I don't like that. I don't like conversations that are not conversations. That was you're fucking up. It is what it is. Move the fuck on. Here you are in a video. Okay. How can we do better? Because at the end of the day, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for the victims and the families. So I guess maybe we have a conversation and a roundtable with any parents and the victims who have gone through this and get their opinions on what we can do better to support them. Maybe that's where I should go with this, is see if there's any parents or victims that previous that would tell me. I don't know. Oh, that's been happening. People do that all the time. I probably told them to fuck off, truthfully, if they were trying to get you to go at me. Cotton candy. You can come at me. You can cuss me out. I'll give you a gold star and move on. Truthfully, like that's why this shit doesn't bother me. When I like last night, Brittany said all sorts of shit, crazy shit out of her fucking ass about me last night. Crazy fucking shit. Just completely blatantly lied, twisted everything we fucking said. Not just me, Duchess and Chica were on panel too. So twisted everything we said, made herself the victim. You expect us not to fucking address that shit? No, she's using a missing child to deflect, and she does drama to deflect. That's the drama. That's the part of it. Like, ah. Oh, Gray Pearl. Oh, Cotton Candy. Yeah, it's because I addressed them. Yeah, 100%. So I guess all we can do is continue to try to do better. I'm not going to start taking, even though most of you feel that that should be done, is it should be tagged. His name should be tagged in all this because it's the only way it gets beside those. I've been asked that so many times in the last few months. Again, we had that conversation a couple days ago openly. There was people in the chat talking about that, about please take his name so your videos get in there. And I don't, because there is drama inlaid. Unfortunately, this is what happens. This is what pumps the algorithm. This is what the cases turn into. It's not, nothing I'm doing is going to change any of that. That's the sad thing, is I'm one person who can only do what I can do. So I don't tag because everybody has a problem with it. So I don't do that. I don't put his name in the title of videos. I don't use his face on hashtags. But I'm trying to do this for his dignity. So when his story is actually told, because right now nobody can tell that properly, he's still missing. At least there's some respect shown to him at the end of the day. But it doesn't feel very respectful when we're not really even, I mean, I guess respectful isn't the word. It doesn't feel like we're even making a difference, truly. At the end of the day, opinions are like assholes, and most of them stink, especially after Chipotle special. Oh my God, Arctic, thank you so much. Thank you all for the support. Nonsense. Honest question. If we expect creators to communicate before covering and reviewing us, no, I don't expect that at all, LFT. Truthfully, if you're thinking about me, I don't think I'm not owed anything. She just said very blatantly, like she was close to a few people, and I wanted to set that straight because a lot of times, if you don't set that straight for me individually, and I'll answer your broader question here in a minute, but me specifically, the reason why I mentioned that is because I don't want anybody to think that there was ever communication between her and I before. There is not a friendship. There is no camaraderie. This is not an infighting. This isn't a fallout with groups or anything like that. So I didn't expect her to reach out to me. I'm just setting the tone very clearly that there is no relationship there. And I'm obviously not one of those people that she considered that she respected because she didn't reach out to me. Maybe I misunderstood what she was saying, but what I caught out of that was that she reached out to those behind the scenes that she respected. Does that make sense? Hopefully. But I don't expect that at all. Fuck no. For me, no, review me, talk shit, do all you want. That's a personal thing for me. Now, other people, their expectation is going to be different. But I also don't, the first time I see a video from somebody, so if there's a new channel, per se, like somebody new on the scene, I will wait until 3, 4 videos deep before I address that person to see, okay. And then I try to handle it with kid gloves a little bit at the first time. I don't go in balls to the wall like normally and call them a bunch of names or really lay it on hard because then you shut off their ears and there's not an opportunity to listen, in my opinion. So I will handle people like in BJ, for instance. You go back and watch how I handled her in the beginning. Go back and look at how I talked about her in the beginning. Now that's fucking totally different. Okay, I was just making sure that that was very clear. Thank you. I'm glad that those of you that are saying that's how you understood it too. Okay. So that again, just to be clear, yeah, we have no alignments, no like common factors. I'm not in discords. I'm not in any of the cliques. If it's a clique or assumed like groups of people or anything, you can count me out. I'm definitely not a part of it. So now if we expect creators to communicate before covering review us, do we adhere to the same expectation? I think that was more asking me because I said she didn't reach out to me. So maybe you were thinking I expected that of everybody. I definitely don't. No, no, I've been exposed so many times on here, LFT. I can't answer that for anybody else, though. I do not personally reach out to people because the ones that I do address have been doing this for quite some time. The ones that I do pay attention to, there's a pattern of behavior that I can show and walk you back for multiple videos. So they're not getting the respect of an email first because I know enough that they have been addressed. People have talked to them, their communities specifically, that their unwillingness to just buckle down and continue to do the same. Your expectation could be differently. Now, if it's somebody that I fuck with, let's say, Chico. I'm going to use Chico as an example. Chico and I absolutely would have had a conversation about anything that she or I felt differently about. We would have those conversations behind the scenes because that's somebody I fuck with, I know, and I respect. So creator to creator, we would have had those conversations. I've had conversations with creators that aren't so pleasant. There was a creator that during the Marvon story that thought I was doing stuff with Veda Jade and talking to Veda Jade. And then because Veda Jade was making it out to people that we had this like receipts royale coming up and all this shit. And she was like, what the fuck, this other creator? And she didn't realize I had nothing to do with any of that. Nothing to do with it. She thought I was intentionally keeping shit going. I took the hit for that. But once she allowed me to explain, then we were able to have a conversation. And then she was like, oh, fuck, okay. But sometimes it's about perception too. But we were able to have that conversation behind the scenes and gain understanding and then move forward. And again, can all do better. I say that every stream. There is always room for growth. But the bigger picture, how do we help the victims and their families if we're remaining silent? Janice, I love you. A lot of you were Janice in accounting. KCG, thank you for being a member. A lot of you were really upset. And that's why I say, like, lost mother of one, thank you so much. You guys. Wabi sabi. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm not reading. Japanese philosophy about finding and accepting the beauty of imperfections with everyday. Okay. Hello, Wabi sabi. First of all, sorry I fucked up your name how many times now. But secondly, you're dropping some wisdom tonight that I absolutely love. Thank you for being here. And all of your Teresa, thank you for being here too. It's Teresa too. And I always fuck that up too. Just give me a pass, okay? One. I may have not worded that correctly. Just meant if before a creator covers or has an issue with someone, should we expect communication before they do so? And should we be doing the same in return? LFT for me, that's a no. I don't expect it, and I'm not going to give them that respect because, again, for me, if I'm covering them, there is a noticeable no accountability and no change. And that's just because based on who I cover. Now, if it's somebody I cover or don't cover that I usually fuck with and they were fucking up, I'd have that conversation before that even got to that point. So there's that. Um, Yeah, no, I'm not. My time is precious. I don't have enough time to be reaching out to people. Sorry, that's just for me, that's an unrealistic expectation to even set on myself. Steph, don't be pissed, you guys. Please don't be pissed. I really think TPE's heart's coming from a good place. I just I just think that the temperature in this community is really high because there is this level of different sides of the street and who's doing it better and who's doing it right. This has been a looming thing for the 2 years that I've been on this app. There is a lot of division between creators, and it's really sad because at the end of the day, we should all just be trying to do our best with what we can. Some people bring comedy to it. All they can is mock the creators. They can't do the research. It's just not something that they are good at, and they recognize that. So, but they're a fucking damn good comedian. So they rip on them. There will be people like that. There will be people that can walk things like I do in a very organized manner in my head. Like, I'm going to take you to this part, and then I'm going to use their words to transition into this place. Then I'm going to use this. That's how my brain lays things out. Then there's people who dabble here, dabble there, point this out, point that out. For me, it all plays a bigger hand in the bigger picture, and victims and their families need to be highlighted of what's happening to them. And it might not always make sense at the time that it's happening. We might always see, like, oh, that's kind of gross. Like, there's certain levels personally that I will never do. There's certain hashtags I'll never use. But that's a personal thing. There's no gate here to chain in front of the parents. Like, if there was a gate in front of the parents and it took somebody sitting there and chaining themselves to it to protect them, I would do it. I can't do that, so I'm doing my little part on here that I can. I don't want anybody being upset with TPE except for the Duchess part. You can be pissed about that. For me, please do not. I am not above reproach. I am a flawed human being just like the rest of you, but I at least am willing to play the game. I have had creators try to fuck with my every goddamn life to shut me up. So when somebody that claims that they're doing the same and want the same things, and it does, I mean, it does feel like, it feels like, is there something else going on here that I didn't notice before? Should I have recognized something before? And I don't know what that is. So for me, it's kind of uncomfortable, if that makes sense. Hey, Beachy Keen, with the mass amount of streams and misinformation that happen daily, I count on this channel to find source info and corrections. Beachy Keen, I really appreciate you. I honestly don't know what I would do without all of you guys. Thank you for the support. And I fall short. Like, I wish you guys, you should see my head. I lay out videos in my head all the time. I just don't have the time to do it. There are so many things that should be corrected. There's so many things. But each of us have our little thing that we can lend to this. There's none of us that are perfect. There's some people that don't try to even do better, that are okay with doing shitty because at the end of the day, for them, this is about clicks and views and numbers. Those people walk amongst us too. I don't have a problem with anybody making money on this app. Truthfully, not one bit. I'm not going to shade anybody over making money on this app. Do you? I will never. That's so weird to me. What I have a problem with is how they go about it. If you're not exploiting a family member and lying to do that exploitation of said family member, make that money. You'll never notice that I fixate on people's amounts of money. Brady J only got called out for her amount of money because she tried to blame Jones in for the fuck shit that happened. The children are still missing though, right? Yeah, Brat. There's that. You guys can all be mad for yourselves. I just don't want you guys to be mad for me. Does that make sense? You guys can, you are, I'm, please don't think I'm trying to control your emotions whatsoever. Not at all. Not happening. I'm just saying, please do not feel some undying loyalty to me that you need to defend me. I adore you guys for that, but I'm okay we're going to keep rocking and rolling. Mal, I appreciate you so much. You give people a voice and have the right conversations. That is so important in this community. Well, I fuck up too, man. I ripped Seth a new one over that shit he did on Brittany J's, and I don't have any regrets. No regrets. Sorry. None. Yes, I've talked shit on the family of a missing child who is also now a YouTube creator who has also exploited his son. All things can be true. I will never shade him for having a child that is missing. I will never shade him for how he's handling that. However, this isn't a reflection of how he's handling that. This is a reflection of the baseline of who he is. So at that point in time, you got to separate. And if you can't compartmentalize those and those are smeared lines for you and you can't see the difference, that's a you thing, not a me thing. Again, it's about perception. You might see it one way when it's in reality, I'm going to see it a totally different way. All things can be true at one time. You can exploit your son. You can have a missing child, and I can feel empathy and sympathy for you and want the best for you and missing child. But I can also call out when you yourself have lowered yourself to exploiting your child. And that's the baseline because I'll take you back to his own words. And if we wouldn't have reviewed those videos, a lot of people would have missed that. She was 12 and I was 10 years older. And I'm sorry, there is no way, shape, and form that I'm always ever going to give a pass for anybody, whether they have a missing child or not, a pass on that type of behavior. And Justice Equalizer, you and Duchess are above the standard. Both of you present facts. The nefarious ones stop at nothing to protect the money that they make off the missing, their families, and the ones that were never afforded equal justice. Thank you for your support, and you are so right. There is so much, and that's the crazy thing for me too, because I'm not true crime. I am not. She called me Krama, I guess. Sure. This is people get so caught up in putting people in communities. Why can't we all just want better for human beings? I don't know. It's weird to me. I created my own island because I like to burn shit down. So you'll never see a bridge building over here. No, I'm just joking. I burn that shit down real fast. Actually, we were talking about that last night because we are kind of like there's three different pieces of it. So Chico talks about the corruption that happens within the court systems and the after, like the other parts of the cases, like these are true crime cases. So sometimes you have awareness, which is where Duchess comes in. She plays such an important role because she gives the victims and the missing a face and awareness and brings attention to it. Sometimes those missing cases turn into things like what I do that need debunked, misinformation corrected. We try to do our best to highlight that victims deserve better. And then at the end of the day, there's, the court process and the justice process. And there's so many different pieces. And that's where Chico comes in important. And I'm just using this as an example, but she can highlight the corruption and the chaos and the bigger pieces of these failed justice, people who didn't get justice, people who are should be a part of the Innocence Project. There's a need for these real raw conversations. And people have to be able to dig deep and understand that we can't have little kid boxing gloves to handle a lot of these conversations. This is what is happening in our society. And so many are going without justice because nobody was strong enough to stand up and say, enough's enough. We're done with this. And sometimes that takes getting aggressive and doing things that we might be uncomfortable with. I'm glad that you're uncomfortable. It means I'm doing my job, truthfully. I don't claim to be an advocate. I'm an asshole with a YouTube channel and a lot of opinions and the fact that I can lay things out that make sense to me. That's it. But you will never shame me, or I will never feel shame. I guess she didn't attempt to shame me. Well, if that was her attempt, it fell short, but I don't think that was her attempt either. But I will never feel shame when I'm willing to show up, lace my shoes on, and go to war and box the ever loving fuck out of something, the air usually, for any human on this app that is going through the worst of the time. Well, in society, not just on this app. Yes, I am going to review the Lore Lodge. Yep, I am. Oh, Patty, I appreciate that. That's exactly right, though. At the end of the day, yes, we're not going to be perfect. Yeah, this is not a cookie baking community. Standards needs to be shifted. Yep. You know what's happening? Too. Like I've said it to so many people behind the scenes recently. My tummy's growling. If you heard That was my tummy. Um, I said this to a lot of people. I said, it's kind of interesting to watch her handle, and I was talking about Betty, a reverse pressure campaign placed on her by the family. Like, that's who's doing this. The family is putting more pressure on her than anybody else. And to watch her crumble under those pressures, you only came here for cookies. Well, damn it, we don't have any cookies. The pressure campaign, it's interesting to see what people do and how many go to defense of that. Like I was actually I'm kind of stunned. Kind of stunned. I'm kind of stunned by all the creators that cheered Seth on when he got the sent the cease and desist. That's what that I said similar things. Like it's just so weird. It's the weirdest thing. And now those same people that cheered Seth on for getting cease and desist are bothered that Katie and Chris are trying to get protection in the form of a restraining order because now they've taken it to they're trying to silence us. What? Oh, revival. I have no, and I please hope that I'm sure somebody's going to have a problem with something I said or take it the wrong way. That's this app. It really truly is. But her opinion and her feelings matter. They really do. So please don't take it that I'm not attempting to hear, like, I just don't know what to take away from that because everything that I was addressed for, well, being monetized, she was, I don't know if she was, where she, I'm confused on that piece. So I'm just kind of leaving that alone. Um, Again, make your money, just do it ethically. I mean, there's that. The tagging in the titles of the videos, I don't do that, but I do. I mean, hashtag the parents' names. Yeah, I do that, but that's the only way to get things in the algorithm. That's how this YouTube app works. So if we're not willing to, I don't know. Now, honestly, seeing your guys' comments is really starting to make me wonder, do we start fucking tagging? Do we create a tag that can stick? Because what you're trying to do is get it side by side with theirs. So the true thing would be to use the same hashtags they're using. That would make me sick. Unsupervised suggested shorter videos for me, and when you do clipped out videos, when you're trying to walk through like a pattern of multiple creators, you lose too much context for it to make sense, the bigger picture. So I fight with that all the time too. Never 11 hours, but it is hard. So I don't know how to do that with keeping full context enough together to walk it through to make it make sense or make an impact either. That's something I struggle with because shorter videos would absolutely do better. Yeah, that's very true, Boots. Yeah. I did. There's been a feeling. I just for some reason I the last time I saw that person in a chat, I had a feeling because I had mentioned that Ziggy had done a review of me and then just the way that I was received and responded to. I knew something was up. So I wasn't shocked. I expected it. When I went in there and saw the video, I was like, "Oh, this isn't shocking." Nothing will ever shock me truly on here. My girls can tell you that. I'm always like, "Okay, real 100%. Morals over money if only the grifters could." That's very true. It is a good discussion to have. It is a very good discussion to have for sure. And Melissa Jade, I hope more people will have this conversation and do their open panels and people will engage in them. I'm not doing that because it will turn into a 5-hour live. And I honestly, after an 11-hour live, I'm struggling with my voice. And Dexter is over here wanting to fight as is. He wants treats again. Oh, I'm going to continue, you guys. Please don't think that I'm changing anything besides learning how to improve. I want you guys. That's what I'm asking you guys. At the end of the day, the thing that I'm going to take away from this conversation is as people who want better for human beings and victims and their families, our fellow human beings, how do we go about doing that and on this app with what we can do? So as a community, we need to come to some sort of, do we start tagging the names to get them side by side with the ones so we do make an impact and be heard? Do we chain ourselves to things that we might be uncomfortable with doing because we want to make a ruckus? Do we want to make enough noise? How do we do that with keeping respect and dignity at the end of the day, with the main victim being Sebastian Rogers in focus? How do we do that with keeping respect and dignity to the adults, the family members who this impacts? What are the lines on that for us? That is what I hope to gather over time, I think, from this conversation is what do we do? Because I think we could do more. Now that I'm seeing this community come together and all have the same goal in mind, what do we do? Should we start taking shit to get it in there? Do you start reporting? People say, I don't report. I don't report. Well, if we're not reporting, do we really want change? For those of you that cover true crime cases ethically, like burden of proof, please keep tagging their names in your stories. Duchess and Arctic, please keep tagging their names in your stories because you guys are such an important part. I got to separate those right off the bat. And anybody else doing that similar things, please do that. There's a standard in this community that we don't report. It's shady to report. But if we're not reporting when they're doing these things to victims and their families, we're not even really complaining about it, are we? I mean, where you go? This is what I'm talking about. This is where I wish that conversation would have led to. Instead, it was dead-ended with I'm open for conversations. You can reach out to me. No, you just put me in a video next to fucking Justin, Dolly Vision, Molly, Brittany J, Brooks, Duchess, who shouldn't have been in there, period. I'm pissed about that. That I will say I'm pissed about. That part right there I am pissed about. I mean, T-Rev. Yeah. Smiley. She's not open to the revival. I don't even need to read it. There's no use. Like that's the thing. This feels like it's something else. So maybe when she figures out what this actually is that she has a problem with me, then we can have a conversation. Otherwise, if she's not open to change or to have a conversation, like she said she was open to conversation, but when I give honesty, like this is what honestly is being what we're going to address, because this is what I owe to my community. I owe this to the victims and their families, but we owe, if we're being honest here, oh, see, yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, we'll just leave it be then. So we'll just continue on the conversation because to me, that means that there's something else. So I was really hoping this would be a different way. I really was thinking that there would be a conversation, but when I don't know. I ask myself that daily. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? What do I expect to happen as a result? The answers vary and influence my next step. The fact that others don't do that is weird. Exactly. That is, yes, spot on. Tragedy Pimps Exposed Vibrator made a live stream addressing community, what she perceives as a community, which is totally fine. But then she went through a bunch of screenshots of people, like tags that she's upset about, videos that we've reviewed that she's upset about. She included Duchess, Queen Bee, Granny, alongside like Spanky, Dolly, Molly, Brittany, all of those people. And none of us are perfect. I think anybody would tell you that, like that whole group of people, but there's a very distinct, separate situation here. There might have been other people. I don't know, true crime knitter. That's people always say, like, I ask that all the time. Like, how does anybody ever get held accountable at the end of the day either? And then for me, I don't want anybody, especially if it's their sole income and they support a family, like to lose that income. So reporting is hard for me, but then there's no accountability ever garnered because there's no punishment for what they're doing. Does that make sense to you? Oh, MJ, I don't know what you're saying. Hold on. Oh, yeah, this I oof. She said, am I hearing things or did she say she hoped to see others having this conversation? Did she not at the end of her video say that she hoped to see others having this conversation? Did I hear things? Did I really hear things incorrectly there? I thought she invited this conversation. That's why I'm having it because my subs were pissed and I wanted to calm down the temperature and say, look, I am open to change and do better, but what is the expectation? Because right now, and I, okay, all right then. Okay. Oh, no, 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 LFT. Thank you for clearing that up. Yeah, no. Uh-uh. I did invite her on panel though. She's had opportunity and I was nice as hell to her until I wasn't. Thank you for asking me that so I could clear that up. So it's not perceived that way. I'm really confused. I thought she asked for others to continue this conversation, but then when we continue the conversation and like to me what I perceived out of it again, like this is my perception of that. There was unattainable things that we are not going to make a difference if we fall to those, like we're not tagging, we're not calling things out, we're not like, so then what are we doing? We just remain silent and there's no change that comes with that. Okay. No, 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 LFT, I didn't take it any sort of way. Not at all. I can only answer it for myself. So I'm glad you asked that to clarify though, because you're right. That would have been perceived as something. And no, no, I don't reach out. Anybody that's probably something new too that I probably should go back and address. But anybody that knows me knows that I am not. If you're on my list, there's reason you're on my list, and I don't want to have a conversation with you. And whether that's right or wrong, indifferent, that's how I move. I'm not going to waste my time and energy into people that I've seen repeatedly never have any hope for change. So where some people think that there's always this like willingness, all it starts is drama and back and forth. And no, and I don't. Mm-mm. But unsupervised talks about, okay, unsupervised was kind in the chat. So I don't have anything to say because we were talking about like her and I were talking about, okay, how does this work then? I don't know. So I'm very confused. Why didn't they say that? I just don't get this. I was asking these questions. I thought there was room for conversation. God forbid. Okay. Oh, what the fuck is happening here? Yeah, I'm super confident. Thank you, Janice. I'm really confused about this. I swear to God, I thought there was the ask to continue the conversation, and we're continuing the conversation. And I think it's been pretty constructive, like truthfully, because realizing that there is a lot that we just don't, we're all trying to do the best we possibly can to do the little parts we all can do. And I don't know where to go from there. Like, I don't do the tag or the titling and the tagging of the missing child. That's obvious. Um, the series of Seth I had already ended for my own personal reasons. We had already talked about that. Me being monetized again, I'm not going to feel guilty about being monetized. So at the end of the day, it feels like there's something else there with me, and I wish I knew. So, and I'm not going to call out the other channels that she could have included that do very similar things to me, because I don't think it's fair that either. Like I said, we're all trying to do our part with what we can at the end of the day. I'm just like, I think I'm stunned. Yeah, Duchess, you need to do that though. You need to, like, true crime, like truthful, ethical true crime creators, like Bop, for one, needs to take the victims and talk about what is actually going on. Use you and Arctic and others who do awareness. It's important. Cold cases, it's important. Like, it brings awareness. That's the purpose of getting it in the algorithm so people see it and they know what's going on. And I've always leaned on the side of I don't want to do that because I don't want to disrespect the victim. But at the same time, is it more disrespectful and any doing any good when we don't tag them? Like, it just, Patty, I'm so struck right now. I am so derailed. I didn't expect that from her at all. Like, I feel blindsided. Again, there's no loyalty that needs to be had there. None at all. But I just feel completely blindsided because there's no conversation at the end of the day or really want for change when this is like, we are talking like, we need to, if you want us to do something differently, tell us, please tell us. And when there's no suggestions or even like acknowledgement or research into like what the tags truly do, what the video titles really do, without like really having these conversations, how do you, I don't know. And I'm sorry, again, it goes back to I didn't know I needed to come to you privately when you put me publicly in a video next to these people. I match energy. And I think I've been extremely fair. If you're, for those of you in the comments that don't think I've been fair, please tell me, please speak up, and mods, don't block them. As long as they're respectful about how I have not been fair, I would love to know. See, this is where, like, I don't know why. It just feels very more personal now. But why Duchess? Like, why Duchess? I'm so confused by that. I'm so dumbfounded by this. I'm genuinely, oops. Yes, lip locked. That would be really helpful. It's a discussion that needs to be had, but to be had, but it was presented in a very condescending manner and tone. If it wasn't meant to truly encourage change, yeah, if it was meant to truly encourage change, then why not hold the discussion following the live? Yeah, I, I was expecting that to go on, and then it just dead ended, and I was like, wait, I thought we were, I don't know. And again, if you're just coming in, I've already said, like, I am just as flawed as the rest of you. I am just doing my tiny part. there is always room for improvement. So if you have helpful suggestions of how we can do better for the victims and the family, because at the end of the day, that's what really should matter to all of us. But I think we're getting caught up in the weeds here a lot. So if you actually have suggestions to help them, then please, please let me know. I'm super confused right now. D, I've said that, like, it did feel really weird being sat next to them. Like, you have a problem with me, cool. But to sit us intentionally, like, in the midst of them was very intentional. Like, that was very intentional placement. And if you don't know creators or understand that, like, there's always an underlying message in these videos, that was very intentional to put us in the middle of those people. And that's why I feel very jaded for Duchess. Like, for Duchess, I'm pissed off. I'm genuinely pissed off that Duchess would have ever been included in that. Me, sure, do what you want. Duchess, no. And the sad thing is I don't even know who this is at the end of the day, like a fellow creator that I'm not even sub to. So again, like I I don't know where this is coming from. This is not a personal thing. I don't know who this person is. I've never had communication with this person. So there's no personal history there that I can go to and tell you about, or like this isn't, I don't know if I don't think she's aligned with anybody that I dislike. Like I don't know. Mom. Hold on, sis. Sorry. Oh, hold on. She started crushing again. Kenzie started crushing the can. It was really bad. I'm going to walk in the wind for a second. Discuss amongst yourselves. Yeah, I'm super confused, Duchess. I'm super confused. And I'm not trying to speak for you or put any intention on you. But that just felt really unfair. Really unfair. I don't know what's going on. I feel like there's a bigger piece of the puzzle here that I'm definitely missing. Ugh. How naive would it be for me, the person who screams about wanting change and to do better for victims and their families all the time, to not continue this conversation or hope for this conversation? How how naive to not expect me to address this and continue this conversation with people I value and opinions that I value, because at the end of the day we want better for victims and their families, and you are putting out here that you have these expectations of us to do better and be better, but there's no even I can't. I'm so confused right now. Yes. Another cat in the neighborhood. We don't know if it's mama cat and the neighbors let it go again. Because we're not a community, Denicey, though. That's the thing, is like her perception of the community is channels that I don't even associate with, right? So their perception of a community at the end of the day is not my community. My community is right here. And what I owe this conversation to is victims and their families and the people that are re-victimized and creators use to profit off their pain. That's who I owe this conversation to. That's not a community that I really take apart. So why am I going to let a community that I don't even really overlap with, except in little pieces? Because I think we all kind of come to the conclusion that victims and their families deserve better. However, I'm not going to just live up to their expectation, because this impacts so many more people. And at the end of the day, victims and their families. So I'm very confused and taken back right now. Oh, I think that's a great idea, K-Mash. I will do that, actually. I would l that I'm super confused. Okay, Duchess, thank you, because I'm super confused. Super, super confused and feel so blindsided. Thank you so much, Yep, I appreciate that. Thank you for being here for this discussion too. Back in retrograde, maybe that's what it is. Stitching, yeah, now I'm catching on. See, look at me, like, I was really genuine this just feels so weird. No, Music City, I didn't, and I'm not interested anymore. I'm totally, like I'm gonna remain nice because there are some people that overlap over there, but this is really something else. Because she wants us to live up to her expectations, but those aren't the expectations of the people that we're impacting, which is the victims and the family. So why aren't we taking what their wants and needs are into consideration? Why does your like what? And I say we should do better all the time. All of us can do better. Like I just feel like this is just so out of left field. This is a conversation that we've been having continually. And anywho, take me in all the videos you want, clip everything you want of mine. I could care less. It's about the bigger picture for me because I thought you really wanted better for the victims and their families. And now it's very apparent that you want some sort of, I don't know what this is because you're not even open to discussing, like, how do we do better for the victims and the families? Not tagging them doesn't get our videos next to theirs. So that's a double negative in my opinion, but I still have chose not to do that. That's a personal thing for me. But I can see why people do, and that's why I choose to just ignore and take in what I can. Granny did a video, people were pissed off about it. Again, I addressed that because I didn't know if that was what was looming over my head again. Um, she deleted the video, I'm assuming because it was terrible, and I'm sure she knows that, so she deleted I just don't know what again, with her, I'm not gonna go back 3 years. I already said what I had to say about the J I don't know. This all just feels really odd. That's the only things I can think of. Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, though, here's the thing that I've always told you guys very openly. If you're new here, you might not have heard me say this, but I always very openly say at the end of the day, every one of us is profiting off of a tragedy. I am here discussing other people's tragedies. So at the end of the day, every single person is just discussing a tragedy. These people, if you're discussing them while they're talking about these families, it is a tragic situation. So truly, the term tragedy pimp is kind of disgusting in itself. We are all profiting off of people's tragedies. It's a much bigger industry than people are even willing to admit. These people aren't just tragedy pimps. We're all discussing tragedies. We're all talking about people's worst days. Because no matter what, if I'm talking about a creator, they're talking about that. So by proxy, no matter what, I'm talking about the tragedies. It's tragedy. We've always discussed that openly over here. Exactly. Her community varies from mine. My community is right here, and the people that I owe better to are these people right here, and the victims and their families, more importantly. That's who I owe this conversation to. And again, I might have misunderstood, but I thought I thought she said she wanted people to continue this conversation. I'm sorry that I was being honest about what the situation was, that I don't know you, and there was no conversation. So it was very apparent that so I was just setting the clear tone so people don't assume that we were friends because a lot of times you get grouped into these things and people just assume. So they thought it was like this bigger oh god. I hate drama like now that you want to see me fucking unnecessary useless drama. Here you go. There's just no purpose for this even. I see you, Dark Horse. Sorry. I can't I'm just my brain is like spinning, short circuiting, because this is the drama I can't handle. This is the shit I can't handle. I have no desire for a discussion there. Sorry. Yep, I appreciate that. Seriously. I really want better for victims and their families. So for me to shut this conversation off would be so stupid. This was a great conversation to be had because we can, but I'm learning things like tagging does not help. Like, not tagging is actually harmful in a lot of people's opinions. And it's really interesting because I've been seeing that more and more because we never combat the misinformation. The drama is a sideline that always is going to happen because when you put heat on creators, they deflect to the drama and take it personally. It always happens. I just don't know where to go. Thank you, Tina. Trauma vultures, yeah. But Miss W, I really appreciate your comments, but I still am very confused because this isn't a competition to me. I, I do it to the best of my ability. And there's a ton of room for improvement. But at least I'm attempting to even sit on the bench, let alone play the game. We're all just trying to do our best. Like, this is weird. Oh, and the monetization thing, I'm not apologizing for being monetized. I donate and I will continue to do that. And that's my choice. If people don't even donate, that's their choice. As long as they're doing it ethically, I have no problem with people making money off of this. Truthfully, there is the right ways and the wrong way of doing social media. Exploiting people and lying about them and putting misinformation in their stories will never be helpful. I have a problem with that. But at the end of the day, I don't even fixate on that. Like, this is just so weird. Is it because she didn't want me to have the conversation? She wanted somebody else to pick up the conversation? Is that potential? But I owe it to my subs. She impacted people I care about. I don't even get this. Duchess, I'm super confused. I'm really sorry. I'm super sorry. Queen has an open panel yet. Like, I'm not speaking for everybody. Like, this is just weird. I don't even know at this point. Yeah, I don't know. There's so much room for all of us. I wish everybody had a channel that could speak up about this stuff, truly. Like, there's so many creators that get a pass because there's just not enough time in the day. I'm just really fucking confused. Yeah. Well, if there's an ulterior motive and there's something else that I've done wrong to upset you, or there's another alignment or a reason or something, please just say that. Please just do that. Don't make us open to, yeah, like, I am actually open to conversations about victims and their families because right now all eyes should be on that. And we need all the pressure we can get right now and everybody to be speaking up and speaking out because we finally are seeing a parent stand up for themselves. We're finally seeing parents say enough is enough. And that is such a huge thing and should be celebrated and talked about all over the place. And pressure, the reverse pressure campaign that's being pushed on her by the families might set some people into place and say, you know what, I can do better for the families. KCG, thank you for the support. I'm actually decompressing as I'm reading these because I'm just confused. I'd say the danger comes in when it's hashtagged and doesn't discuss the topic. Yeah, that's something. I always hashtag what I'm talking about. Becky, do you second guess yourself because you and Dutchie have not done anything even remotely? Do not second guess yourself. I'm just confused. Again, it was very evident. Like, that's why I said I'm obviously not in the group of people she considered respect, because if you respected me, you would have came to me with an open conversation in mind, because at the end of the day, I thought this conversation centered around how we can do better for victims and their families, and it seems like the conversation's a lot more, but it's not. You're not open for a conversation. That's what I'm hearing. Okay. No, Granny, because you were the only one mentioned. That's what I thought. Maybe she had alignments with somebody. Thank you for the support, but that's the only person I could think of, is because Chronicles did that video of you, and I didn't know if they expected me to, like, that was what I was talking about. Sorry. That's why I went to you. That's the only thing I can think of that was even recent, that I commented on something of somebody else's. Hopefully that makes sense to you. There feels like this heavy expectation with you surrounding you all the time, with people wanting me to say something, do something. You know that. I think you see it all the time. But like I said, you removed the video. I don't know what, like, I can't go back and clip it out. Do you know what I'm saying? That's why I went to you. That's the only thing I could think of. I Queen Bee, I pop in every once in a while. But I've never been in trouble. Like, I've been over at Queen Bee's forever. Granny's the I just don't get it. It was Granny, Queen, me, Duchess, right? From this supposed side, I guess. If there's sides, I guess there's, I don't know. Yeah, it's all weird. I don't know. I don't know where this falls. I really don't. The whole thing's odd at this point. It's just odd. I don't even know what to say anymore. Yeah, Nisi, like, the thing is she, hey Steph B, she took it down. Like, some will choose to agree until it suits them to break something on the case. Truthfully, may only serve them. Why can't she comment? Are you talking about Granny? I don't know who you're talking about. I can't comment, but I was friendly with TP, so no, it's not me because of me. I don't know why you always put things on me, 2 3 at. Yeah, I don't know either. She can't comment. I don't know. People are, this is the way it goes. You have an idea, Pineapple? Let's hear it. Granny's not blocked. Did somebody block Granny? When did Granny get blocked? No, Granny's not blocked. Oh, subscribers only. Yeah, for 20 minutes. Maybe she just has to wait 20 minutes. That could be. She might not be subbed over here. People lump her into all my shit. Yeah, that's probably why. Yeah, she's probably not subbed over here. Good point. Thank you. See, she's not even subbed over here and they lump her into my shit. This is. And Granny, if you don't know too about that video, for further context on that video, that was the very video that Brittany yelled at me about. And I said, "Where's the clips? Where's the proof?" And she couldn't find it. So that's why I did watch Chronicles video too. And then I just, okay. Like, you took it down. I don't but for full context of why you were exactly mentioned. Jones and I'm so fucking confused at this moment that you're sitting on your hands, Sheila? This chat is already clipped and shared out. Why? What happened in the chat? Oh, I don't know. You guys are all, I don't know what's going on. You guys are doing too much. KCG, I'm fine. I'm an adult. I can handle myself. Thank you. I'm so confused. You guys got me so confused on this whole thing. Granny's fine, you guys. If she's not subbed, she'll be able to. She shouldn't be blocked. That's not the case. Everything's good. I explained to her why she got mentioned. I'm sure she'll understand exactly what, because that all factually happened. Kool-Aid has it clipped and posted. My chat? What? Huh. Well, that's interesting. The Kool-Aid clipped the chat? Like, you guys in the chat or me? Steph B, Tragedy Pimps Exposed did a video on addressing community. Well, it's called a much needed conversation with our community in 3 years worth of screenshots live preview. She dropped a video and was discussing the tragedy pimps and her perception of who's tragedy pimps. And she included Duchess and I, Granny, and Queen. I think that was the only 4 that would really be considered shocking, or maybe not shocking to some. I don't know, wherever your line may be, but perceived on like the misinformation. The rest are like Spanky, Brittany, Dolly, Molly, T-Rev, people like that that do really, really insane, horrible things. And she was comparing, and she basically called us kind of low-level tragedy pimps. She's upset about people tagging Sebastian's name and things, or the victim's family. Does she feel the same way about Summer, I wonder? I'm not sure what is happening. So then she said she was upset about the titles in the titles with his name in them and the hashtags with his name in them, which I don't do. So I can understand that. That's a personal line. I think everybody has different personal lines, which I do get. Then she mentioned something about monetization, which I'm really confused on. So I'm not even going to attempt to understand that, because we all do what we can. And my time is valuable. So I'm not going to apologize for being monetized. She talked about my series and reviewing the interviews of Seth, which I had stopped reviewing those myself because the last time was so disgusting with what he did. But I go back to, I can have empathy and sympathy for the man, that he is the parent of a missing child, but I can also acknowledge that he exploits his own son, and now he is a YouTube creator too. Like, not, he's interviewing other people. He's not a YouTuber. It's the weirdest thing, but I still am not reviewing, haven't reviewed those either. But that was a personal choice of mine. She said she wanted to have a conversation about how we could do better and be better at the end of her live stream. Duchess, she included. Yeah, she included Duchess. Sorry, biggest one that I'm forgetting. Duchess. Duchess doesn't even, I can't even put Duchess into that category. You'll figure out where this is coming from and whether it's important or not. You always do. No, I really won't, because I'm just going to keep on moving on. Thank you for your support, Patty, but I'm just going to continue to move on. Like, I'm just going to continue to do the best to my ability to continue to call out and correct the misinformation in the best way I know how. I'm going to fall short continually. Hey, Shady. Is Shady talking shit? Oh, are you I didn't say I didn't know what it was about, I was explaining. If you're talking that to me, I know exactly. I was detailing it. I detailed her complaints already, I'm not really sure. Professional opinion, you're doing things right. Yeah, absolutely. Revival, this is just useless because I was excited to have a conversation about how we could do better for victims and their family. Truthfully, she at the end, she basically opened the door. There was some clear things that were stated that I did say, like, I don't have any communication there. There's not we're not friends. I'm not even subbed over there. Like, there's not I'm not part of a group or anything like that. So she had said in her video she reached out to the people she really respected, and I was making it very clear that I wasn't one of those. I did say that. I don't know what people are upset about. And truly, like, it's just useless at this point because I want to have the conversation about how we can do better for victims and their families, and I thought that's what was wanted. So I wanted to have that with my community because they took part in that video, and I think all of us realize that we can do better for victims and their families. Holy shit. My video title? Hey, babe. Thanks. Duchess made me that. Yeah, Jones, and it feels very underhanded and like I'm missing something here that I should have caught on to, and that there's a bigger picture here that she's got something personal with me. And I didn't think that at first. And now I'm like, okay, this seems very targeted and I don't understand why. I'm not doubting myself, Sheila. I'm doubting the fact that I don't know what the expectation here is. This is the drama that I don't understand. Like, I get why Brittany and those guys bring drama. Now this just feels like manufactured drama, if I'm being truthful. Oh, with hers, yeah. Well, good, because the rest of us are really fucking confused. Nobody in here has been able to tell me one rational thing that I have said wrong yet. And I'm trying to have a conversation about how we can do better, and I'm getting nowhere. So what I perceived she had issues with are things that I don't do or have changed. So where do we go? We just shut up and then we're not doing anything to help anybody? Okay. Not going to happen. Yeah, yeah, that was in there too. Forgotten, did she put you in there too? I'm sorry, I might have tuned that out. If she did, I'm sorry. Mimi of 8, thank you for the support. Jones, and I don't feel that she owes me anything. I don't feel that anybody needs to do that genuinely. That's speaking for me and me alone. Like, I don't expect that, but I expect open dialogue when you say that you want open dialogue because you claim that it's about the victims and their families. And when you want this conversation continued, and I was trying to tell my viewers it was good. Like, this could be a constructive conversation, and I was hopeful to have it. And then when we start having the conversation and I give my perception on what I took away from that video, very honestly, so we could continue the conversation and I could be told what I got wrong or your perceptions if they varied. And then it gets met with more nastiness. Like, I don't know. Yeah, well, that's same for me. Revival didn't, I mean, did because I saw her in a chat once a month. I mean, I forgotten too. See, I must have missed that. I mean, I'm just confused. I was trying to go through my head. That's why Granny got upset because I was trying to go through my head and picture like what recent basically situation was I expected to address that I didn't, and that's the only one I could think of was that. I don't know what else. Duchess being included in there is super confusing for me, and it does piss me off. Yeah. Yeah, is there a good side and a bad side? No, obviously not. And I don't see it that way anyways. It's not that hard. Like people do their thing. Like everybody does different things. Who am I to say that XYZ is good at talking shit or being a comedian? That's what they bring to the table. Like we've had real lifers all over turn into some of the best amazing awareness bringers and they changed who they are. I can think of others from other communities that were part of the KJ community, anti-KJ community that have became real fucking strong voices. Oh, forgotten. I didn't know. Sorry. All right, you guys, I'm going to end this because I think all of us are just spinning circles at this point. At least I am. I guess in time we'll figure out the bigger issue here. I hope. I'm sorry that other people, Duchess, if you got called into this because of your association with me, I'm really sorry. I don't know who I'm associated with that I'm not supposed to like. I really genuinely don't even know anymore. I don't dislike people because they hang out with other people. I just pick and choose when I go around certain areas. Every person is just trying to do their best. That's just me though. Like I'm just like dumbfounded. You just pocket modded somebody, babe? Will one of the mods fix that if you can? Yeah, that's very unfortunate, Pineapple, because truly, like, yeah. And I'm not gonna that's why I'm not defending Queen, Granny. They'll do their own, you guys. I don't like it when people speak for me. Duchess, I just had to say because I talked to her before this. So I felt at liberty to say something there. The other ones I'm not gonna speak for. They have strong, powerful voices and will address whatever they need to. I don't expect anybody to feel the same way I do. All right. I hope you guys all have oh, a better night. This is confusing. And the Kool-Aid, did the Kool-Aid clip it in like a negative fashion towards the chat? Oh, Granny, there you are. Everybody was thinking I had you blocked. And then I'm like, wait, Granny's not blocked. Oh, the subs only are on. She might not even be subbed over here. See you assholes? We don't even know each other. Fuckers. Hold on. Now that Granny can comment. Okay, the Kool-Aid. I was like, wait. I thank you. That confused me. And then all of this is confusing. Yeah, Duchess, I understand. Totally understand. Holy shit. This is the unnecessary drama that I do not like. I was really excited for a conversation. Oh shit. Oh, revival. Yeah, in their standard. I thought they did. The Kool-Aid, I was really confused because I thought it sounded like you would just clip the chat. You clipped me with the chat. I get it. I was just really confused. I'm like, wait, what did I do already? Usually I can tell you what I did wrong. Usually I can tell you why somebody's pissed and upset. This is where I don't like. If I give you a reason to dislike me, sign that, lace that bitch up. I deserve that shit. I don't like these gray area ones. This is like feels very like wishy. I don't know what the problem is. Okay, pineapple. Yeah, now it makes sense. Wait, what? Haven't even doxed. Wait, you think I'd hurt animals? I don't know. Haven't even doxed, but yep, sure works. What? Is that actually Granny? What is she talking about? You'd think I'd hurt animals? Oh, what they act like you do, Granny, with how they treat you? Oh, okay. I was like, "Wait, what? I don't think that. You have a cute cat on your screen at all times." Like, so fucking confused. Uh, yeah, crafty girl, that's exactly. That makes sense, Granny. I was like, "Wait, okay. Yes, 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 I get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get it now. I get it. Granny, I get it. I thought you were somebody had said that I said that to you. I was like, "Wait, what? No." It's so confusing. I watch that cat, I do too. I do too. Granny knows. Like, that's why it's always so weird for me when people expect me to dig 3 years back to go find Granny's dirty deeds. I'm like, "But Granny has already admitted to like, why do I have to go do this again? Like, what?" Oh, the Kool-Aid. Well, I'll ship them to you if you would like them. Kyle would offer to pay the shipping and handling. I'm sure they are actually deadly, just so you know. Like, I'm not just out here doing terrible things to things, but they are kind of cool to watch. I wish I didn't have to kill them either, truthfully. They are kind of an amazing creature, but I'll keep continuing to keep the family safe because my kids have really weird reactions to shit, but I respect that. A lot of people don't like bugs. By the way, ever since I got a community guidelines violation because I got reported because some of these sensitivities after Brittany J made a big deal out of it, it was such a narcissistic thing for me to do to kill scorpions. I don't post scorpion videos anymore, so you're lucky. I do it in private now. And that's the honest to God truth. I got a community guidelines violation for killing scorpions because Brittany said I was such a narcissist. I don't know who reported me, but somebody got me. And it was the "We Didn't Start the Fire," that song too. It was great. You're kind of weird. No, you're not weird. I get it. Totally get it. Everybody has their different things. I just don't know where they have a certain path. That's the other crazy thing about scorpions. You should actually look them up. Maybe you do know a lot about them, but they have like this path. So neighbors like 10 blocks over from me have never seen scorpions ever. It's the weirdest shit. They have like this area that they relocate to and go back to. It draws it's the weirdest shit. No, it's fine, Tracy. No, the Kool-Aid knows I don't give a shit. Kool-Aid and Clipper are 2 that always clip me, and I never care. I don't even care if they clipped me in a negative fashion. I thought they were saying that they clipped the chat only, and I was like, "Wait, what the fuck is going on?" Yeah, you're not true crime and never claimed to be. Don't hold me to the standard. See, that's the thing is, like, everybody's I think we're all kind of being, in essence, lumped into a community that we might not necessarily belong to. We all overlap and we all like show up and support each other when we're doing similar things and stuff, but we all have like differing things. I don't know. And everybody's idea of what's acceptable and not is something that I think all of us struggle with personally too. That's why like that deleted video, I went and watched it because that was, anyways, I already explained that to you, Granny. I hope you understand why I even mentioned that. That was the only thing I could think of. So I went to you. You've been stung by one in the foot? Ooh, yeah. Yeah, well, and you know what? The ones that scare me the most, the Kool-Aid, are the little ones that you can barely see, like the little tiny ones. They carry the most amount of poison and they blend into the landscape so bad. I told Kyle that I would like to have a white marble, like if we ever had another house with a pool, and got to pick it, dreaming again, because I think I'm such an entitled snob. But I would rather have it like white or black so they stood out. Never black because of the sun, but like a white one. I would love to have a white pool deck because then you could actually see those little buggers. They blend right into the pool deck. Sorry, now I'm talking because people were talking about something else. So, I can't even breathe around. The chat is off the chain. This chat's actually been really good. This chat's been really respectful, in my opinion, what I've seen. I might have missed some other shit. I don't know. My mods have done an incredible job per usual. They always do. They always show up for me. I hope everybody can kind of understand this is just a conversation I thought we were actually intended to have. Like I thought I was doing the right thing by having this conversation, and that went south. So I'm just going to keep doing what I do best, and that's laying out content and continuing to correct the misinformation that I can, and dealing with the drama and carry on. That's you want to, MJ? See, and Granny, they're teaching me about it too. Like I was personally against it, but now so many of them have brought up valid points, like very valid points that I'm like, oh shit, like where is that? So I think it's a conversation. I was mentioning maybe having a conversation with one of the victims, their families, like from different arenas too, whether it be different true crime. It doesn't just have to revolve around missing children. Like this is the first missing children case that I've debunked misinformation. And so therefore of course, I'm going to do it incorrectly. In the last case, I rarely ever had to talk about the kids. It was all adults. So it differed greatly. This is the first time I've ever dealt with a minor child victim. Does that make sense? Oh, Granny and Jones and JP, they're adults, you guys. Leave them be. Let them, they can talk to each other. They're grown-ass women. They're not getting blocked. They can go back and forth all they want. That don't involve me. They're good. Let them be. Like they can do their shit. I wasn't even paying attention. Sorry. I'm like, I'm sorry. I wasn't monitoring the hallway fights. I'll pay attention. I just let grown women talk like grown women want to. They can fuck each other up with their words. I'm like, I don't know. Sorry, guys. I try not to monitor like creator to creator fights. That's one thing I know. Like I stay in my lane when it comes to that stuff. I try not to involve myself in that shit. I get dragged into all sorts of shit. And I usually try to just like duck out. Nobody would want to fight me if I'm being honest. Like I'm old and fat and lazy. Come on now. I'm out of breath going up and down the stairs 50 times. All right. So I guess, okay, let's wrap this up so I can get out of here because I've said it. I was getting out of here until Granny could actually talk and then it made sense. Before people thought Granny and I were fighting and Kool-Aid was clipping me negatively and all these things. We got it all cleared up. Thank God. Okay. So basically the understanding is, sorry, Dexter gets treats because he has to. So at the end of the day, this is between me and you, me in this chat and the community and the families that I discuss, who can always reach out to me and ask me to do something differently. They hear that. I will always take it into consideration, but I will also take into consideration what you are doing to the own victims too. Keep that in mind. I don't give passes just because, or overlook things, just because I do have empathy and sympathy for the family members. So with that said, going forward for me and me only, this is speaking for me, I will continue to do what I do and do the best that I can at it. We will always try to seek to improve in ways we can to do better for the families and the victims, because at the end of the day, that's what matters to me. There will always be people that have something to say about what I do and how I do it. I will continue to do it. They can continue to critique me doing it. I will continue to rally around those that are trying their best in any way, shape, or form and give them grace, because I'm just as flawed as a human. People in this chat who are a part of these conversations, who continue to show up for these conversations, will absolutely continue to hold me accountable for my actions and what they think I can do better on behalf of the victims and the families that we talk about on the daily and stand up and have these conversations over as a community. I'm never going to be above reproach. Constructive criticism is amazing. Actually, I really like it when it's constructive and not from a place that seems really underhanded, because when you say you want a conversation and I fire up to have a conversation, then I'm basically told to be silent. I also cleared up that I'm not an ally. Please do not refer to me as an ally. I'm an accomplice. We go down together. I will never stand in front of you or take hits for you because you will tell me when and if that's what's needed. I'm just an asshole with a YouTube channel with a lot of opinions and too many animals. I choose to spend my time focusing on the things that I hope to see change, and that includes myself. There is always opportunity to grow every single day, but I will continue to show up and try to do what I can do while I respect those others who are willing to lend their voices and try to do their best too and bring light to this conversation that is so needed now, especially when parents are finally standing up and saying enough. We all have a little part we can play. Some are just unwilling to play their part. They'd rather poke at us than play their part. And that's okay too, because then you always know somebody's watching over your shoulder. Then you don't answer your emails because you never know who's up to something. Because you don't like people to begin with, and then you don't trust nobody. So then they just fuck you right up. And then you're like, nope, never mind. Check me out. Revival, I'm glad you feel better. Duchess. Yes. Yep. Same thing. We will continue to all do our part in the best way we know how. You can put me in any video next to those guys all day long. I had already fixed some of the things that I perceived you wanted me to change. I was really hoping for some solution based conversation, some focus based conversation for the families and the victims. But it seems that there's an underlying issue here that I don't know about. So, with that said, I hope emails or texts, right? I know I'm terrible. I'm really behind today. I cleaned house, I vacuumed, I cleaned the floors, I cleaned the bathrooms, I did laundry. I don't get to just go live for 11 hours and then I still had to get up at 7 o'clock this morning, especially because Kyle's gone. And yes, by the way, Kyle waited up until I got off of here and then told me how proud of me he was and how good that was because he listened on and off all day. Had me in his pocket. Thankfully, he wasn't pocket modding because he wasn't a mod on that one because he had to switch his accounts because he keeps locking himself out of his account. Anyways, but then we talked. We didn't talk for 3 hours though, so don't get any perception. You know, we made sure to keep it under 3 hours because God forbid you actually enjoy talking to your spouse out here. Babe, don't go doing no cutting your fingers off, please. At all. I don't know I'm sure this conversation will continue in other spaces. For me and me alone, though, it's closed. We will continue to do our best and we will continue to show up and speak up and make noise and hope for change for victims. That's all we can do. I would really like for people to really think about the tagging thing and the mention of the names, though, because people brought up a lot of valid points tonight about the helpfulness of taking them. And it really actually is, there is a purpose and a reason for it. So I think that's a conversation that could be had. And maybe we need to rethink our opinions on that. Accountability at the end of the day, none of us in our words are going to hold these people accountable. So although we all say we don't report because that's a shady thing. For whose standards is that a shady thing? Because if we want these people to stop doing this, at what point in time do we start saying enough is enough? And when is it okay to report BHV versus XYZ doing it? These are conversations I think that would be worthy to continue to have and see where people land, because I can see potential of maybe I am doing it wrong. Yep, absolutely. We full show. That's what we do. We just continue to move on and we just continue to have the conversation. So everybody that is willing to stand up, take hits, and continue to put your neck out there and do your best, whether it's bringing comedy to this, whether it's distracting them with drama and kicking them in the shins, I'm going to continue to. What's my saying, Duchess? This was the best one from last night. I'm going to kick him in the cooter with the facts. That's all I can do. Thank you. Duchess made me that. AP in trauma care, we will just replace it with a toe. Oh, great. He's going to have a finger toe. No, I won't, Tracy. I won't. I was actually really, you go back and listen to this. Like I probably sound depleted right now because I was really genuinely excited into having a really good conversation. I was really like, and I was just trying to lay out like the factors of this. Like, I don't know this person. There's no personal relationship. So there is like setting it clear, I don't know. You still have that. Oh, tomorrow is another important conversation. Yeah, Mal, I need to get some sleep before that. And we got a dentist appointment tomorrow too. All right, now I am officially out of here. I hope you guys all stay safe out here. I will see you guys around. I'm sure this will get trickled through the YouTubes. I'm sure it has already started, but um, yeah, I am excited to hear others' opinions and perceptions and conversations with it. For me, this is where I go, but I'm of course open to things that are going to come from this conversation for sure. Stitching, you know what? I've made so many mistakes. My God. I really truly have. Y'all know that. Fuck. I point them out to you. I tell you where my mistakes are usually and like what I could do better. I'm just a human being like the rest of you. I'm not perfect, but the expectations that what I perceive that she wanted are unattainable for me. And I just know that I'm never going to say that I'm going to live up to those expectations, nor do I even want to, because those expectations remain silent. That's what the expectation is, because these are some of the natural courses of action. And this is how this goes. Like it just generally flows that way. So it would be cutting off the conversation to stop all of those parts. So I was really open to the conversation. I just feel a little let down. I really genuinely feel let down. And I don't know why. This is one of those things where I don't know why I gave that channel respect undeservingly without knowing either. Like, truly, why? Because they are in chats of people that I gotten to know. Like, that's kind of weird. It just shows a little, like, I don't know. I don't know why I expected differently. Truly, I didn't know them or don't know them to have a perception. So I don't know. Yeah, I need to think about this. I hope you guys all have. Thank you, the Kool-Aid. Keep on clipping away. I think I need to ponder a little bit harder for myself on this whole situation because it feels very underhanded now that I'm thinking about it all openly and processing with you guys. Like I came into this thinking it was all just, everything was fine and I could explain these things and learn to do better. And I feel blindsided. All right. See you guys all. Have a great week. We're getting them on soon. Bye.